Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Free-to-Play Cast, episode 36. Coming up on a year soon. Got a couple more live shows scheduled, so bunch of stuff happening. Stay with us each week. I've got hosts this week. We want to talk about games. One of them you know, and another one you should know. So let's go with Brim first. How are you today, sir?
Fantastic, and I'm hope the one that you should know.
Is you?
Yes.
Well, I would hope that the listeners know you by this point. If they don't, we're in more trouble than we need to talk about on the show.
I know.
Our next special guest, appreciate him coming back. We had him here a few months ago, then Star Wars went free to play, so it's time to bring him back and talk about it. From GameBreaker.tv and Zam.com, AkaMikeB, how are you?
What's going on? What's happening? Thanks for having me back. And Brim, I haven't heard about you before this show. What's going on? Nice to meet you, finally. For the first time.
Only 13,000 viewers, and they only come here to listen to you.
There it is.
They're like, when's he coming back?
So we've got, actually, Brim, we had to have him on. Brim was on the last time, Mike B, you were with us.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about Star Wars, the Old Republic, and some funkiness going on there. And when I asked you to come back this time and you were available and it all worked out, Brim gave me no choice but to make him the other host for this show because he wants to gloat.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I am the champion of free-to-play.
Free-to-play predictions.
Exactly, free-to-play predictions.
Well, let's slide over to the news and get started with the gloating here, guys. So, Star Wars The Old Republic, we talked about it weeks ago. EA BioWare went free-to-play. They're getting ready to finish up the conversion. The software's already discounted on the site. The pieces are all falling into place for the free-to-play option. We've talked about some of the aspects of the model. It didn't make it a year. And in February, March, last time Mike B was here, Mike B and I swore up and down that this would not happen before December of this year, didn't we?
I don't recall saying that, actually. I was pretty certain that I said it was going to happen just like right around the time that they actually announced it, right? Isn't that?
No,
we don't have an audio recording of that anywhere, do we?
Yeah, let me go back and take a listen. Maybe I misheard this. So to be fair, at the time, Star Wars hadn't had its layoffs yet. There was a whole slew of bad press that now we look back on and go, okay, yeah, had I known this at the time, maybe I would have had a different decision.
Yeah, exactly. There was no way. Even like given now, I still felt like the EA just has such a reputation to uphold that, again, if they ever went free to play before a year, the only thing anybody would ever remember is that SWTOR didn't even make it a year. And that's it. Star Wars Old Republic didn't make it a year. It could be 2 days before the 1 year mark. Still did not make it a year. And I thought there's no way they'd let that happen. And I guess it was just that bad. They had to let it go.
They said, hey, we're over the 500K we need to survive. We're under 1 million. We're going to leave it at that range and not give you any more information. By the way, it's free to play. Next question. So at last time, Brim, you correctly predicted, rather boldly at the time, that this would not make it to December as just a sub-base game. Mike B and I tried to talk some sense into you. You stood firm and said December. Now, Mike, let me ask you a question first. You left the show. We both had our points of view. You have the first round of layoffs, which, right. Okay, that happens.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Yeah. All the development's done. Now we got to get rid of the weight we can't support anymore. So that's normal. Then some more bad press with some of the updates coming out, and then another round of layoffs. Did you start seeing Brim's point coming faster and faster as more bad news just kept piling up?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like I think when we did the last podcast, it was definitely still in its infancy. We didn't really know if Endgame was really solid or anything yet. We knew that it was lacking a little bit, and people weren't necessarily happy with what they had, but they still had an opportunity to put out like lots of content updates. And around the same time, WoW had, I think, data mined like 4 or 5 other content patches that are all scheduled within this next year. And so it was just like, okay, they clearly have lots of stuff. There's no way, okay, this will be fine. Yeah. So But then you're right, like the layoffs, and it just felt like everybody when you're known as the game where everybody's on the Fat Man server and that's it. When everybody knows the Fat Man server, there's a problem there. Like, I can't name any other servers anymore because all I remember is just because everybody was on that server and that was it. That's a bad sign. That's a really bad sign.
So I've been trying to avoid him for this conversation. But I suppose I have to let Brim talk at some point. And Brim, you were right, man. It pains me to say it, but you were right. I was wrong. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're good looking. I'm not so attractive.
Wow, all that happens, huh?
Now, all that happened between February and now. And so, Brim, you've got 30 seconds here to gloat. How did you see it coming? What before all the bad news said this is going to be free to play? Absolutely has to be. I don't care what anybody else says.
Well, I don't know how much time might be you spent in the game, but I was in it daily for hours at a time, and you would listen to some of these gamers, and they're like, oh man, this game is crap, blah, blah. Well, I'm like, first of all, why are you still playing it if it's crap? Second of all, it really didn't, probably still does. I haven't played it in about 3 months. Probably since we talked about it.
He was like, I made my point. I don't have to play this shit anymore.
Exactly. So after seeing the end game and then just, you can only PvP so many times. So
going hut ball so many times.
Exactly. So you can only life grip many people in the fire. Good times. Good times. But it gets old after a while, and that's where everybody was leaning to. I'll be honest with you, I mostly only said within a year because I could not agree with magicman.
Oh, so
that was it.
So
you could have come on. That was your moment. You could have been like, well, I also invest, and
right. Well, I appreciate you giving the power of that decision back to me. So I was in awe of the prediction and it coming true, and was ready to follow you to the horse races. But now that I see the logic behind the decision. Yeah, I don't know. So let's talk about the model itself, guys. If you wanted Knights of the Old Republic 3, then this couldn't be better for you, right?
This is it.
You've got 0 through
Pretty
50,
much.
all classes, full storyline. You're limited on species a little bit, but hey, they got to make some money somewhere, I guess. If you wanted Knights of the Old Republic 3, here you go. It may not be everything you wanted, but it's pretty damn close. If you wanted a free-to-play MMO, that might be another story. What do you think, MikeB?
I think if you want a free-to-play MMO that you are going to very casually play, then I think you'll be okay with it. I'm definitely excited about the fact that the stories, the main storylines are going to be available to you, because I want to go and actually finish the stories for the 2 characters that I have.
Did you ever make it to 50?
No, I didn't. I didn't. I was doing a lot of weird stuff. I was leveling multiple characters up, and I got a couple of them to 30 something, right? Or somewhere around there. But I was also experimenting a lot with doing machinima. I was actually there was plans, and there was actually a demo, like a pilot shot for a potential machinima similar to my show Blitz Blues in Star Wars: The Old Republic. And so I spent, instead of leveling and doing all that stuff, all of my time was spent getting in the game, shooting, experimenting, doing this, doing emotes and whatnot and all this stuff. So no, I never got a chance to get to 50. If it was easy to do by doing Hutball, I would have done it. If Hutball counted more than what it did, I would have definitely been there. But unfortunately, it just did not happen. But yeah, the way they're putting limitations on, I guess, the frequency at which you could play or participate in certain elements as a free account. Right. Yeah, I think if you're playing casually, this would be the most expensive free-to-play game you'll have ever played.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. As far as storyline, great. Fantastic. If you want to raid, then you have to sub up, right? Because operations are just blocked for non-paying players. Mm-hmm. Flashpoints are limited on a per-week basis. PvP matches are limited on a per-week basis. So if you want to do anything besides the storyline, I don't even really count this as free to play at that point. You're going to have to pay if you want to put any time into any type of end game past the storyline. At least in my opinion. What do you think, Brim?
Oh yeah, if you're wanting to raid or run ops or whatever, you're gonna have to sub up.
Well, yep. Well, that one's pretty apparent. You can't get into ops unless you sub.
Right. It's right. It's not a true free to play yet.
Yeah, are you predicting a more freer to play coming soon?
Might be clear the calendar.
I know, right? When will they be freer to play, Brim?
I have to stick with EA in their usual selves, and I don't see it going past what it is right now. It's going to stay like it is.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think this kind of models exactly what EA did with Warhammer Age of Reckoning, right? They put that cap on the very first tier, and you can't progress beyond that point to do any of the additional endgame things like that. I think this is at least pretty consistent on EA's side with the free-to-play model they've used for things like Warhammer. Give you the progression to the end, and then stop. You cannot do any of the vertical progression of gear or ops or anything like that afterwards. So at least they're staying consistent. One of the things that was really surprising is this all sort of came out in the same day. It was like EA scrambled, pumped a bunch of information, BioWare put it up on the site about the whole free-to-play thing. Within hours of the announcement, the investors' earnings call went up.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to get your two opinions on, and we've gone over the whole investors call on a previous show, but one quote that continues to stick out in my mind from the president of Labels was that EA had appreciation for the diversity of their lineup where they could make up for a miss in one license with a hit in another one, referring to a miss in Star Wars The Old Republic made up by their other premium shooter account. What is it? I'm drawing a blank. What is it? Battlefield?
Battlefield Elite?
Yeah, the Battlefield Elite thing. The Premiere. That's what it is.
Yeah, okay.
The Premiere. Literally calling Star Wars The Old Republic a miss and their premiere on Battlefield a hit.
Dang.
Are we going to see the type of development that was originally scheduled for this game anymore? 2 rounds of layoffs. It sounds like the company's not that interested in it anymore. It's not doing as well as they thought. They're calling it a miss. Can we possibly expect the same type of upkeep and content upgrades that they've been touting for the last 6 months?
You think it's going to go potentially it could just go stagnant, right? I agree. It could, right? There is a lot of stuff that you can do, like in the in-between portion between like 1 and 50, as far as like story is concerned. Like if you literally sat there and listened to every story that happened, you would definitely have a game that you could spend thousands of hours playing.
Right.
But yeah, like could they potentially not do any more work to it? I could see it being difficult for BioWare to seek funding to do any more work to the game, to be honest, especially after being labeled a miss. Right. You imagine like the next shareholder call, like would they really want to come back and be like, yeah, so even though we said it was a miss last time, we decided to give them a couple $100 more million. Right. We hope that's cool, shareholders. Yeah, that was a good idea.
Let me just open up this EA wallet here. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Shell out a little green. Yeah, and the part that really strikes me is what are they going to do with this in the future was that second round of layoffs. Like we talked about the first one, that's to be expected. Unfortunately, it's a byproduct of the industry. We don't like seeing people lose their jobs, but it happens when the game is released. That second round of layoffs, though, so close to the first one, seemed like a market reaction more than anything. Not so much on we need to downsize a little bit. We've already done that in the first round. The second one is, I think, EA coming in and saying, okay, here's our plans for this game for the future, and right. you guys need to go. What do you think, Brim?
I don't know why, but them calling it a miss just blows my mind. you were sitting there telling me the numbers of just, when it was being sold or pre-sale.
Yeah.
And to me, that is not a miss.
LucasArts is they're having a blast.
Right.
George Lucas is just rolling in fat IP money.
That's what I don't get. But I mean, you and I both bought the collector's edition, didn't we?
Yeah. I'll thank you for bringing that up in public.
Yeah, no problem.
Dang.
No, I enjoyed the game. I got to 50. There wasn't shit to do. I stopped paying. It was that simple for me. It was that simple. We had a guild at the time, Mike B, that was... it wasn't... We didn't have all the right 50s, but we were still trying to do the raids anyway. And when we were able to clear them, knowing that we didn't have the right group makeup anyway, just people hadn't made 50 yet, so we were going to go for the hell of it.
Right.
And when we were clearing that stuff and had nothing to do, we were like, wow, we're really in trouble now. There's nothing to do.
Oh, yeah, no, that is painful. It's like you go out there and you're just like, oh, so give us a shot. Why not? Yeah, why not? We'll at least learn something. You beat it. It's like, damn.
So did we one-shot that? Did we?
Yeah.
No, there's got to be more.
It's funny. That's the one time where, like, when you wipe horribly, you would have been okay with it. You've been
right.
Like, yes.
Right.
Like, I knew that healer sucked. Oh, well, guys, if you're a fan of KOTOR and wanted to see 3, then, hell, November's the month for you. If you're looking for MMO with endgame, then, you're probably going to want to stay subbed up or become a sub once you get to 50. So there's Star Wars The Old Republic. Be interesting to see what the content upgrades and patches and how often and what the content is going forward here. That's the one thing I'm going to be keeping my eye on is what updates are going in and when. Also, it would be interesting if maybe they went back and fixed things in previous updates, but that's just me. Let's move on. Arcane Blade, Codebrush Games. So we've got a free-to-play fighting game on the horizon. There are not too many of those, huh? I'm trying to think. I mean, you got Dungeon Fighter online, but that's not really, fighting in the way you think of Soul Calibur and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that. It is totally Soul Calibur, a brawler.
Yeah, it's more than one player. I'm sorry, more than 2 people. It looks like in some of the videos we've seen up to 10 in one match at once. Now, we don't know actual gameplay yet. We're just going on videos. So it's a third-person fighting game. You can control one of 10 characters with personalities and storylines based on the fantasy novels of the same name. Are you a fighter guy, Brim?
Yeah, I mean...
He sounded so sure there. He was like, yeah. What about you, Mike B?
I was pretty excited about it.
You a fighter guy, Mike B?
It's so selective. Like, the last really good fighter that I played was Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast. And that was pretty much it. Like, I played that until, like, the Dreamcast caught on fire. Like, I loved that game.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say you played it until Sega shut down. But they were like, yeah, we're not making consoles anymore.
Coincidentally, those two things were actually linked.
Yeah, they were about the same time. So it's modeled itself after traditional fighters, Street Fighter, things like that. Looked a little more 3D than we're used to seeing Street Fighter to me. Am I off base there? It looked more like a Soul Calibur than the side-to-side classic Street Fighter feel.
Oh yeah, it's totally a Soul Calibur virtual fighter. Like if you want to say start at the core, it's definitely a virtual fighter style setup.
Yeah, I played that shit on Sega Saturn.
You owned a Sega Saturn? I had to play that in the arcade.
I still own a Sega Saturn.
Wow.
I'm a ridiculous video game collector. There's 33 systems on the closet.
Fancy name for a hoarder.
Yeah, hey, shut your mouth. So we had SB Jin, he's CEO of Codebrush Games, came out and said the average gameplay time's only 10 to 20 minutes. We're aiming for users who play a game for maybe an hour per day. I wish our game would be a stressless and fun game for those users. Which, I get the point of what he was trying to say.
If you're trying to make a stressless and fun game, you're in the wrong business.
I I just think that fighters, by their very nature, are stressful.
Exactly.
There's going to be broken controllers at some point. Closed beta, August 30th. You can sign up. You hit mmobomb.com. Come on over there and link to the site there. And should be out on Steam in 2013. So let's get your two opinions. Brim, you watched the trailer. What are you thinking?
I'll try it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great point, to the concise and directly to the point. What about you, Mikey?
Yeah, it does. It looks fun. Again, like I don't latch on to fighters just in general. I find something that I really like, and then I just kind of stick with it. But I mean, I'm always willing to. I do enjoy those kind of quick. You get in, play a match, and get out. That really kind of fits like what I do. So it's like if I'm rendering a video or something like that, I'll load up like a lightweight game while that's rendering, and I can play something for like 20 minutes and then get right back to working.
Yeah, I am very excited about this. I love fighting games. My concern though is that right now they've got Team Deathmatch, Capture the Pylon, and Free for All, and in my opinion, and you guys can talk me off the ledge here if I'm just overthinking this, the only thing that keeps this type of game viable long term in like an MMO type universe, I mean this isn't Persistent World, but
right.
you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty MMO is the game modes. The additional characters, I assume they'll add more characters at some point. It'll be interesting to shoot through their storyline and see their whole plot thing. But the only thing that's going to keep you interested in this long term is constant upgrades and additions to the game modes, I think.
Yeah, something like this lends itself really well to the we're adding another player, another champion, or whatever they're calling their heroes.
Oh, definitely.
Add another avatar, add a skin. Like that's how these things take off. Just add skins first, and then add like a new avatar, and then add more skins for that. So that's probably how these things are going to actually go out. And there's plenty of things to be inspired from too. We have 25 years of beat 'em ups, or 30 years of beat 'em ups and brawlers and fighters to pull from. So if you're looking for fighter moves that people like, you're not going to find any shortage of them anywhere.
Right. It's almost like there's so much out there. If you get this one wrong, you deserve to go under.
Exactly. Just generic punches and kicks. No, come on.
I don't know. I'm excited about it, but seems like I'm a bigger fighter guy than you two gentlemen, and that's fine. Finally, something I'll be better than Mike B at.
Ooh, this is a challenge.
Oh, don't do that. I saw what you did to Lore when you guys challenged each other. Hey, speaking of that, MOP coming up shortly.
Yeah.
Can we look forward to Lore and you leveling again?
I definitely want to. What's funny, I think I was a little too honest with my. I kind of gave like my whole. My wife's pregnant.
Right.
The due date's October 6th. I'm pretty sure that it's probably gonna come a little bit early. So when MOP launches, it's probably around the time that we're gonna have our kids. So it depends on that. It's funny, I put that out there, and like a lot of people they just lost their stuff. They're just like, oh my god, Mike B doesn't like WoW anymore. And it's funny. It was just coupled with like are you gonna buy the collector's edition or this? And it's kind of like I'm picky about that for certain stupid reasons. But anyways, yes, I want to make it happen. The only way it wouldn't happen is if I'm like at the hospital or if I'm holding a kid in my arms. That's the only time it won't happen.
Well, I mean, she knows the way to the hospital, right? I mean, you guys have been there. You guys have been there before.
What I'll do. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'll do. Maybe it's time. I'll be like, well, see the keys. What?
Right. See, I'll give you a little advice. I'm married. I've got 3 kids of my own. You don't have to be at the hospital, Mike.
Oh, man.
You don't have to be there. Only if you want to remain happy do you have to be there. If you're okay with not being happy, you don't have to be there. I was there for all 3, though, so that's just my advice for you. Go ahead and be there.
I will definitely be there for it. But yes, other than that, I will definitely be ready to throw down with Lore. And whoever else wants to get on it and do whatever, but definitely Lore. It'll be good. I hope he wins. I might kind of slow up a little bit, take a nap or something.
Oh, no. Let me just, hold on. Let me make this a micro file real quick here. Let me look up Laura's email again. All right, let's slide over. Last news topic this week, guys. Lord of the Rings Online, LotRO by Turbine. They got a little expansion coming up, Riders of Rohan. We've talked about it on the call here. That was originally slated to come out September 5th. And we say originally because something pretty awesome happened about 2 weeks before that date. They moved it 2 weeks before the release date. The expansion is now delayed until October 15th. Now let's go through, guys, real quick, their reasons that they gave publicly for this, and then I'm sure we're all thinking the exact same thing as why they really did this. Publicly, the expansion does have a cost. Remember, you guys have to pay for the expansions, but the game itself is free. They said there's more work to be done in the beta. They needed to make some tweaks. The expansion is one of, if not the biggest expansion that they've dropped. They're concerned about some of the aspects of the mounted combat, which they've been making a big deal out of it. So there's some polish that needs to be done. And if you go through the forums, the NDA lifted, and a lot of the beta testers came out of the woodwork and said, good decision. I mean, it was generally across the entire forums, everybody saying, great decision, Turbine. We're having fun in the expansion, but it did need that polish. So it's hard to say that they're lying. But I think they're lying. Come on. We've got two magic things. One just happened. The early access or head start access for Guild Wars 2 just started a little over a day ago. And then you've got another magical title coming out, Mists of Pandaria. And so the September 5th release would have put it, right in between the two just about.
Right.
A little closer to Guild Wars 2, but right in between the two. Am I crazy, Mike, or does this have something to do with the delay?
What's funny is I seem to recall them announcing this date well before we knew either Guild Wars 2 or MOP's date.
Yes.
They put this out like a long time ago.
It was out months ago. Ago.
Way further ahead than like most companies do, right?
Yeah.
And you can imagine when they first, of course, Guild Wars 2 and was Guild Wars 2 the first announcement? I think it was. Yeah, Guild Wars 2 and then MOP.
Guild Wars 2 and then MOP
Then
announced.
MOP, that's right.
Because, it was Guild Wars 2, MOP, and then Blizzard went ahead and said, oh, by the way, MOP patch on the day Guild Wars 2 comes out.
Totally, exactly, yeah. You can imagine that it's like, oh, crap. And so it's one of those things. It's like, you know what? If they could take the time, whether it really, really needed it or if it just kind of needed it, you know? Like, if they just take that time now that they clearly have, they're definitely going to have time that it's probably better spent working on the expansion than putting it out there, even the slightest bit unfinished, because people will be like, wow, why would they put out a product that's not finished? Even if it's, again, the slightest bit unfinished is not finished. So that's what people would focus on when there's so much competition just right around that
in the same 30 days.
Exactly. So no, it's smart of them to push it back, whether it be for whatever reason. It just gives them time to work on it or to play Guild Wars 2 and MOP, whatever it is they're doing.
Brim, how do you feel about this? You didn't like Lord of the Rings Online first, so you're probably the wrong person to ask.
I did not like
it. There was too much lore in this damn thing. Well, it's only, 17 bajillion pages of Tolkien text making it up, but that's okay. You're not a fan of Lord of the Rings Online, so I can't imagine you really have a positive thing to say about this delay, do you?
Not really. But, I mean, even if it wasn't Lord of the Rings, even if it was just some random game that we were talking about, Turbine had to be looking, sitting there. They hear Guild Wars 2, they hear their release date. They're like, shit. Okay, we can get past this. We're all right. Let's just deal with it. And then Blizzard was like, oh, by the way, MOP's coming out, and Turbine's like, yeah, you know what? This game's not quite done yet. Let's we need some more time. Yeah, that's what it is. We need more time.
And then they're like, okay, we're going to need all 50 developers in this room right now to make forum accounts.
Exactly.
And we need you to pose as beta testers supporting this decision.
Yep.
So you're saying it's a Lord of the Rings spiracy.
Yep. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You know what? If like 2 months from now there's some breaking news and you're right about any of this, I just quit. I'm not doing this show anymore.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm skeptical. I look at it and go, yeah, well, yeah, it was smart. Get the hell out of that window. But if you need to tweak some things at the same time. I just think I don't like that it was announced 2 weeks ahead of the date. That's my big problem. And that, not to say that Lord of the Rings is the biggest game out there, but let's face it, there are people that play World of Warcraft, play Guild Wars 2 now that it's out, play some of the bigger free-to-play games, and schedule vacation time from their real day-to-day jobs and things like that. They make these games part of their schedule, right? Yeah. And when you see that you've scheduled this time for an expansion to come out, and then 2 weeks ahead of time, the expansion is delayed by a month and a half, good luck getting your vacation switch, right? I mean, I don't like that 2 weeks ahead of time. It should have been a little bit earlier. Give them a month and a half, because if you go to Lord of the Rings forums, there's people pissed off about this.
Oh, I'm sure.
They only had 2 weeks to react, and there were people posting, my job requires 2 weeks notice to do anything. And now I have less than 2 weeks to move things around. And I don't think there's a whole bunch of people, but hell, I'm on vacation from my real day job this week because I want to play some Guild Wars 2. Had ArenaNet delayed it a week and a half ago, yeah, I would have been pissed too. So I can see some of the Lord of the Rings angst. I disagree with the 2 weeks ahead of time, but I think they had to get the hell out of that window. I think
it was
everything,
the safer bet all the way around.
Yeah, I think everybody's scrambling to get away from that window right now, besides ArenaNet and Blizzard. They're fine with that window. They don't care. They're just going to fight with each other, but everybody else just duck for cover. So if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you've got some more time to wait. They are giving you some goodies, though, right, Mike?
What's this?
Because they delayed it, if you did a pre-order, they are giving you some cash shop goodies. They're giving you some turbine coins. They're giving you some consumables in the game. And they've also widened the period that you can pre-order. So if you were looking to pre-order the expansion, as long as you do it by September 5th, you'll get the freebies. So
yeah, which is nice. It's nice of them to do that and not just walk away. It's not going to fix the person who's taking vacation and not doing anything.
Right.
But it's at least it's something. And if you think about it, it's kind of a reminder to everybody who is waiting for the expansion, that the expansion's coming out. Like, what are all these things showing up? But people don't follow the news, right? They're going to be like, what is all this stuff that I all of a sudden have? And they look it up. It's like, oh, crap, that's right. I got to go and do this and whatever. So it's kind of like this weird PR thing that just happened with them.
So you can't say things like that. You're just adding to Brim's conspiracy theory. Well, head on over, guys, to mmobomb.com. Check out more of the Lord of the Rings story. Also, while you're there, we've got some Arctic Combat beta keys giving away. Feedback on that one hasn't been too good so far, but plenty of beta keys if you want to check it out for yourself. We've also got some upcoming interviews on future shows. You're going to see Big Point on with us talking about Universal Monsters, the mobile made with the Universal Monster Cast, Frankenstein's Monster, Dracula, all those guys. We're also going to have David Brevik on an upcoming show. We'll sit down and talk about Marvel Heroes, so that should be fun, so stay tuned there. What do you think, guys? Let's slide over to the weekly bombs? Sure.
Let's do it.
Sounds good. Brim, why don't you go first, bud?
Oh, you're going to make me go first? All right.
Sure, why not? I really don't want to give mine out, that's why.
Oh, that's right.
Mine's painful to actually say out loud. Oh.
Mine is a da-bomb. It's not for any game in particular. It's not even for a company. It's for my new system.
Oh, jeez.
For letting me be able to play all these free games that are on the market.
Damn.
There have been numerous Facebook messages going back and forth with, should I play this one? Magic Man, should I play this one? I'm like, yeah, you should play them all. You are on a free-to-play cast. You should pretty much play them all at some point or another. Man, this is great. I don't have to delete things. I mean, it's just like messages back and forth. So you're pretty stoked about that system. You talked about it last week too.
Yeah, I am. I on the laptop. I had to delete WoW and SWTOR off the computer just to play Ghost Recon online.
Yeah, they do have hard drives. I don't know if you've heard of them. That have quite a bit of space on them. You should probably look into it.
Do you wish to share your new specs? Because people are going to ask.
He doesn't know.
I told,
HB Pavilion.
Yeah, I told Magicman this last week. I'm like, I just go to Best Buy and I'm like, take my money.
I bet they love you, man.
You're the one person keeping Best Buy open right now.
Did you get the printer with the rebate that makes it free when you buy a desktop, and then you have to buy the USB cable on the side, and then make sure you get the entire platinum package service plan for the entire thing, because you never know what's going to happen. You want peace of mind for that product that you're purchasing, to know that it's going to actually last for the duration of those 3 years.
Right. You can't put a price on peace of mind, but we're going to.
That's right.
Somebody has worked for Best Buy before.
I've worked for CompUSA, actually.
I ironically worked for Best Buy at a point in my life.
No, the computer was actually a gift. So
that's why you don't know the specs?
Yeah.
It's a hand-me-down computer, so we don't even know if it's actually going to play anything yet.
Oh, it does.
It does. Yeah, he's. Oh my God, I could play this on Ultra, and I'm like, yeah, most computers can. It's solitaire. Why don't we head over to you, Mike B? Weekly bomb.
My weekly bomb, dull bomb. I'm guessing is Air Mech.
All right.
Has to be Air Mech. Right now, it is easy. It's funny. Even though Guild Wars 2 is out, I jumped in, I played it and everything. It's great. I still found myself last night jumping into Air Mech and playing it with, I was streaming it and people were jumping in and all that stuff. It's just a fun game. It's people were describing it as I would take a whole bunch of things, kind of blend them together, but I think people very accurately described it simply as take Dota style gameplay and then add tower defense. And I hate saying tower defense because it makes it sound lame. It's totally not. You have a sense of micro where you can pick up and move units using your mech. Your mech can drop down and turn into a walking mech, but it could shoot things, right? Or it could transform into some kind of aerial vehicle like a helicopter or an A-10 or whatever. But it's just a fun game. And it's super fast paced, and you can play with a controller. It's like a twin stick shooter and everything, all wrapped into one.
You have a BFF report up on your YouTube on this one, right?
I do actually. I have a BFF.
Do you want to plug that for the listeners so they can check it out? Yes,
just simple. Go to YouTube, BFF space report, and then just type in Air Mech, and you'll find it. It's pretty in depth, enough to show you guys everything. You even have a spectator cam already.
Wow.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but they have it. And last night, we were doing matches, and Lore was playing as well, but he couldn't always get into it because it was I open up the match and then everybody joins in, right? And so sometimes Lore didn't get into the match, so he would just spectate it. He would just spectate the matches. So he'd be right there with us at real time, and he's faux casting it while we're doing it and calling me bad and everything, which is hilarious. But yeah, no, it was it's a fun game overall, and it's free. You can play it in your browser, or you can download the executable.
Nice.
Yep.
Have to check it out. I have a dub bomb too, so it's a pretty good week for the hosts. Everybody's happy about something, although I don't really want to give mine out. All right, it pains me to do this, but I've got to give a dub bomb to APB Reloaded.
Dang! Oh, I know that hurts.
Hold on, I gotta rub my temple. All right, so I will tell you this. If you've never played APB Reloaded and you're looking for tons of immersion and progression and all this, just stop. You don't have to listen to me for the rest of this. You can just ignore it because this isn't the game for that. But the last time, Mike B, you were on the show, you gave APB Reloaded your bomb.
Mm-hmm.
and made me promise that I would play it at least in a couple of hour chunks. And that was your advice, was that's the way this game needs to be played.
Right.
Don't try to sit there and pull a 10 or a 12 hour, play it for 2 to 4 hours, and then forget about it for a few days, and then jump back in. Use it as your kill time fallback.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept my word. I did it, as much as it pained me to do so, and I must have found like 15 to 20 different ways to play this game while shooting people at the same time.
Yes.
And I just had a blast. I didn't spend a dime in the cash shop because I didn't care about progression or any of that stuff. I just unplugged my brain and shot things while driving and seeing how far I could get things to fly into the air. And
Exactly.
And damn it, it was fun, Phony. Son of a... So I gotta give a dub bomb to APB Reloaded if you just want to zone out and blow some shit up.
Yep. Just pick up some friends, get a dump truck, and just have a good time.
Run the gauntlet.
Exactly. Run the gauntlet. Whatever you want to do. The game is designed, you could be so meta because there's so much openness to it.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, like I said, you can't play this thing for 10 hours straight. You'll hate your life.
I had fun, and that's the last time I'm ever going to say it. From the viewers, your mother's 911. That's a great name.
Wow.
The bomb goes to Raiders Europe/Frogster for granting me a beta key through their Facebook page after several hours searching sleazy sites promoting key generators and keys for surveys. This just sounds like a bad plan in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would ever resort to key generating free-to-play beta keys. There's just something wrong with that sentence, but I'm glad you got a beta key. If you're having fun in the game, more power to you. Stay safe there, buddy. Maybe run a virus scan.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe hit the scan on there, get the malware bytes out, and see what's going on. The Prince of Mill Avenue. Last week we had Spunkify on the show. Prince of Mill Avenue says, I'm with Spunkify on this one. Guild Wars 2 is a direct competitor to Raiders. In the free-to-play market, it felt like it sat across from Terra, but I think Guild Wars 2 really will set the mark of what I'll play since I'm waiting for it to appear. Dub bomb for Firefall for making an excellent game and pushing it further and further, although I'd wish they'd make it easier to see. Press X. It'll turn your flashlight on. A-Bomb for Funcom and the Secret World for making a game that should be getting traction, but somehow is dissolving an audience. I don't know if that's true. It's from everything I've read, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody that seems to be playing the Secret World is staying. Their Funcom seems to be very happy with their retention. They're just not happy with the sheer number of people that have purchased and or tried the game as of yet. Am I wrong there? I mean, that seems to be everything I'm reading.
No, it's true. So I jumped in and I checked it out. And what's funny is I only played the 24-hour pass because it was free, right? And I couldn't afford just to throw down and get the game and just to do like a BFF report on it, right?
Right.
So someone sent me a 24-hour pass and I played it for so much of that 24 hours. It is an involved game. The investigative missions is really the biggest selling point for me. I could look past the combat, all that stuff. Could look right past that. Once you get into the investigative missions where you're like busting out your a phone app and punching in Morse code and everything because you need to figure out what this message is coming in on this antenna that you're hacking into, like that. When you get to that level, that's when it's like, okay, this game is that's where you draw the line. It's like people are either going to love this or they're going to hate it.
Yeah.
And yeah. I love that stuff. And so I did my BF report on it, and I have there are ups and downs on it and everything, but I think overall it was totally worth it if you like this stuff, because if you get in there, you don't like the stuff, then you're wasting your time.
Yep.
The
Shut
people
it
that are
off.
playing, I think they're very happy with it.
Yeah, and Funcom, they had some negative news come out where they had two different models. They said the Conan model and then the best model, best case scenario, and they had various numbers of boxes versus numbers of subscribers for each of those different scenarios, the Conan scenario and the good scenario, and they missed both. So it's kind of bad when you miss the Conan scenario.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
It's just, things aren't good there. But on the plus side, they were saying, people that are playing it, we have very, very high retention, and we're hopeful that we'll start turning a profit on this in the next 12 months, based on the content we want. Again, I just go back and look at Star Wars and say, okay, you're a public company. As much as, you want to say, oh, the stock price doesn't factor into what our plans are. Yeah, it does. Your bosses are making your plans for you based on that stock price. So, I don't know. I think Secret World's the next one to fall. I think Terra will outlast the Secret World as far as converting to free-to-play.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll put that out there now. I'll be bold. What about the Kirito, Brim? What's Kirito got to say?
Kirito, hi, Magic Man. Congrats on the show. It is really famous in Portugal.
Okay. Thank you. And hello, Portugal.
I have a D-bomb for Atlas Online for the last expansion, and an A-bomb for Raiders for... I guess he's having lag issues with Raiders. He said it's a hell of a laggy game.
Yeah. And we talked about that on the show.
Yeah. And for the question of the week, his or her game is Limbo. Stay safe and see you on the servers.
Yeah, last week we asked the viewers what's the best free indie game. It didn't have to be an MMO, but it had to be a free indie game that you thought all MMO bombers needed to check out. So Kirito saying check out Limbo. BrazilMan11, Magic Man, I have a question. Are you going to start a Guild Wars guild and invite your YouTube fans? I'd love to know. I would love to be in that guild. I'm new to your channel. Find myself always wanting to log in and see what new vids you've uploaded. Please start a Guild Wars guild and post what server and guild name for your fans. As always, keep up the great work. Side note, sup, Spunkify. Well, welcome to the site and to the portal. We appreciate all the new people that have jumped over and started checking us out as well. Be kind of counterproductive to start a guild in a buy-to-play game for a free-to-play site. We don't even cover Guild Wars 2 officially on the site itself. So no, I won't be starting a MMO bomb guild in that particular game. But if you want to hang out, I'm on Crystal Desert, and Nadel, Nadel Shadelight is my Sylvari Necromancer's name, so you can shoot me a message and we'll hang out. No MMO Bomb Guild, though. Not in Guild Wars. Check out some of the other games that we've got the MMO Bomb Guild for you. So, on the indie question, Mike, you do... this is kind of tailor-made for you, brother. You do Indie for Breakfast, and then Indie for Breakfast Rejects, which I don't know which of the two shows I like better. Rejects is pushing that list. They're getting better and better and better. So, if I... gun to your head right now, best free indie game that you think a bunch of people need to check out. What are you going to push us towards? Doesn't matter, system, PC, doesn't matter.
It really narrows it down because most of the games that I review, they're like $1, right?
Right.
So filtering out all the ones that cost $1 or more, there has to be one that I thought was so well done visually. The audio was so well done. The gameplay was fantastic. There's a game called Nitronic Rush. I don't know have you heard of it?
No.
It's basically essentially a bunch of students came up with it, right? It almost feels like it was a project for them to do, and if they didn't get like an A+ on this thing or whatever, then something's wrong with the school, or I want to see the other projects available from these guys. But Nitronic Rush is, you remember Rush 2049, yep. Rush San Francisco? It's along those same lines where you have a racing game, but you have a little bit of free form where you can take these side paths, these hidden tunnels and all that stuff. And this one, it takes that kind of core concept, but it also brings in your vehicle has certain aerial abilities that you could control. And there's unlockable vehicles, and then there's so much stuff. It's funny, I did my Indie for Breakfast on it, and then when I got to the end, at the end of my, my 20, 30-minute span, that usually a lot for one single show, I realized that there was so much more that I've not even just scraped the surface of this thing. There's custom maps that you could download. Oh, wow. There's tons of vehicles unlocked. Like I said, like I jumped into like a van, like a straight up, like it was a van. Okay, we'll just call it that, right? And I proceeded to wreck it like immediately. But it has this kind of like Tron-esque look where everything's very like ray traced and neon, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. The music's great. And there's a lot of replayability with all of the different custom maps, and it was free. It's a free download. So if you just Google Nitronic Rush, it's going to come up. But
Nice.
definitely a good game.
Have to check it out. Nixon Picks says, free question of the week, best indie game, if you call it independent, then I'd say it's a game I actually found on Google Play Store, Pocket Legends.
Pocket Legends.
And you can play it on Android. I think it's also for other mobile systems. And you can play it on PC as a browser-based game. It's a really good dungeon crawler. I'd say that it's the best one out there for now. Not to get ahead of ourselves with City of Steam. All right, fair enough. City of Steam not out yet, so we'll skip over that one. I probably played Pocket Legends for about 30 minutes. I don't know about you two. I couldn't get into it. So Nixon Picks, if it's your game, more power to you. If you haven't checked it out and you're looking just for something to kill a little time, go for it. Either one of you played Pocket Legends much?
I never even looked at it.
There we go.
I have actually. I have that, and I have Order in Chaos on my iPad.
Yeah, I can't get into them.
I couldn't really get into Pocket Legends, but Order in Chaos was great. It wasn't perfect, but it was like playing a really stripped down EverQuest on your iPad, and I was like totally floored by how good it was.
Now this next one from a viewer, I agree with, and this is an indie game that I could play hours and hours and hours on end. Glacius X2 says Realm of the Mad God is a pretty sick free-to-play indie game, and I couldn't agree more. That game is badass. I know you've played that one, Mike B. You had a video on that one as well.
Yeah, this game is it's nonsense fun. It's nonsense. Like, have you ever been in a position where you just felt like, man, I wish I could just take this big old cup full of pencils and just throw it all over the place, right? That's kind of how this game looks and feels. It's just you to go in and there's just crap flying all over the screen. It's just constant mayhem and chaos. Then you get like in a train. Like have you ever been part of like an actual like train of people farming XP?
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
I love it because it's got that whole gauntlet feel to it.
Yes.
But then you look back and you get, I don't remember Gauntlet having 90 players. I don't know what is what here. There's just shit flying everywhere. Definitely worth playing. Have you checked that one out, Brim? I know you've watched the video, but did you play it?
No, I did not.
Oh, what is wrong with you?
You just got that computer, man.
That's right. Go.
Realm of the Mad God is super
Google.
graphics intention, dude.
I made him play 8-bit MMO for a review on one of these shows. He still hasn't forgiven me for that, so he might be just taking what we're saying with a grain of salt here.
Yeah,
no, Realm of the Mad God is definitely worth playing. Definitely worth playing.
I've stopped listening.
Thunder 456789. 456789. Splunky PC version. I saw somebody saying this. I just didn't know who was going to be the first to say this one. Yeah, it's 8-bit, fun to play as a little guy jumping on spiders, whip like Indiana Jones, dodge boulders like Indiana Jones on steroids. It's also fun because you can go to the City of Gold and go to hell, but that's only a little bit. It's also fun because it's a permanent death. It's nothing really frustrating. You just lose your items you bought or found the monies and you found in that run. I recommend that game because I like it. Conclusion 8.5 out of 10. Sounds like Thunder works for them. That read like ad copy, didn't it? Like Indiana Jones on steroids.
Who doesn't want to play that game now?
Right. In a world that's 8-bit but fun. What's Tripox got to say, Brim?
Question of the week. The best free-to-play for me at the moment is Path of Exile. It's in closed beta, real closed beta, not that demo marketing thing at the moment. When open beta comes around later this year, the game is going to get huge.
Yeah, that game's actually getting a lot of traction. I did the first look for that quite some time ago in a very early build on it. Yeah, especially if you're a fan of Diablo, and maybe you're not so happy with Diablo 3 still. Path of Exile is definitely going to be one worth checking out. Have you gotten your hands on that one, Mike?
I have people just trying to get me into this game so bad. It's funny. I had a choice. I was either going to do Drakensang or do this game, and just by chance, it just happened to be Drakensang, which I loved. but then the cash shop just killed it for me completely.
Yeah.
This game I want to try because I do kind of like these games. I like those top-down isometric crawler type games. But it's kind of like fighter games for me. It's like it takes a very special kind to really appeal to me. But I had to check it out. I am kind of waiting. I was waiting for it to actually get a little bit further along in beta because I hate jumping into an early beta and then not being impressed. Like Firefall, jumped into Firefall, I was not impressed, and then they changed everything. And I came back 3 months later, and I was like, "Wow, this is now amazing."
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, by the way, you don't have levels anymore."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and also we turned up the speed by 3 times. Isn't that everything super fast? It's like, what just happened?
MMO Demon says, "Do Happy Wheels for indie games." No. Anime Boy says Pokemon, which I don't know if that counts. And this isn't a indie, but I put this here just because I love this comment. Irvine Spiegel says, "I know the exact moment gaming became a cash crop. It was the first time consoles didn't come with a game. The PS1, you got a demo disc. It's been downhill from there." I saw that comment. I must have laughed for about 10 minutes. It was just very great. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. Yeah, my NES came with one. My SNES did. It was Genesis. Son of a... Man, she's right. It's all been downhill since then. It's a great comment. Question for you guys for next week. PlanetSide 2 received MMOBomb.com's Gamescom 2012 Best in Show Award. We had a lot of fun at Gamescom, and PlanetSide 2 just continues to impress. We'll have to see the cash shop. We've talked about that previously. But so far, so good. What game do you think should have received Best in Show? Do you agree that it was PlanetSide 2, or do you think something else should have taken the title? Let us know. Put it in the comments below. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe while you're there. Come on over to MMOBomb.com. Check out all the free-to-play news that you can handle there. Let's throw it around for the final word. Brim, you're up.
Hey, thanks for a great show, guys. To the viewers, you can follow me on the Twitter at Brimton. That's BRIMTTIN. I didn't have any derps this week, Magic Man.
Uh-oh. Got to get some derps from the viewers.
Yep.
Throw them on the YouTube comments. Every time Brim's on the show, he wants to give a derp of the week. So you can fill that one out and give it to us. We'll be happy to read those on the show. Mike B, you're up. Where can everybody listen to you, check you out? I know you got, if I listed your resume here, I'd have to add an hour to the show here for all the damn content you produce. So if you're not watching some of his content, then there's something wrong with you. Where can they find it?
Everybody says that. I feel like I still have downtime. It makes me feel like I might be overworking myself. Stop saying that, everybody. Just be
you don't make enough, man. You're taking too much time off. There needs to be a Darnell daily Let's Play. Daily Let's Play. So where can everybody check out your stuff?
At AkaMikeB, best way to just kind of get a quick look at everything I do is going to be AkaMikeB on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, on all that. Of course, GameBreaker.tv. A lot of people don't realize what we do. But a lot of people that follow me exclusively on just YouTube, they don't know that there's a bunch of other content that I do that's exclusive to GameBreaker.tv that you're not going to see on YouTube. For example, there's the Darnell Let's Play stuff. Yeah. Blizz Blues, if Mop delivers at least a little bit where I'm able to get back in there and do something, then Blizz Blues will be coming back for sure. And then of course the Daily Hits, where we just talk about video game news every single day. So
sounds good. Check it out. We'll also put some of the links in the information below, so you can just tab right on over there and check out Mike B's stuff. Thank you so much for coming on the show again this week there, Mike. It's always a pleasure to have you, especially when I've got to eat some humble pie and Brim's here. It's just nice to have somebody else with me.
You have my shoulder.
Partake of that pie.
Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. For Brim and AkaMikeB, I'm Magic Man, guys. You can hit me up on Twitter at MagicMan1. That's MAGICKMANN1. Hit me at the email, magicman@mmobomb.com. Until next week, guys, stay safe, and I'll see you out on the servers.